It was very, very tough, mentally, physically, in every sense. It was very challenging, very tough. Praise the Lord. I'm Carlos. I would like to share my testimony for the glory of the Lord. The beginning of April 2021, me, my wife, and my 1 year old, all three of us were started showing symptoms of COVID and were tested positive for COVID. One of the first miracle which God did was in my daughter's life, where she by herself started drinking lots and lots of water. That for us to, as a parents, to make 1 year old understand drink more water would have been impossible task for us. But God did a miracle by somehow giving the wisdom to my daughter to drink lots and lots of water. I believe because of which my daughter recovered very quickly within a day or two. She was completely all right. There were no symptoms, and she became active and she was doing quite good. So I praise and thank God for that. And my wife, on the other hand, was showing mild symptoms, and me, I was having high fever. I was having body weaknesses and pains, and so for a week I was mostly weak and down with fever. And then after a week, my oxygen levels started to decrease. My doctor here advised me to get admitted in a hospital. So I went to the hospital. Initially they said no. I was waiting there for 2-3 hours, and after 3 hours, God miraculously gave me a bed in the hospital. Wasn't admitted in the hospital. The first day was not easy experience at the hospital. Every hour was like a day. The time was going very slow. I needed oxygen, and it was very bad in terms of there was spiritual battles I was going through in mind. I started praying all the more. I started getting anxious, anxiety, stress. There's so many thoughts which I had to deal with, and there was literally a battle. There was literally like a war going around in my mind. I was throwing scriptures, promises of God, plans of God I had. I was literally waging war with the devil. It was not easy. So the next couple of days which followed were also not easy because I had certain episodes in the hospital. My oxygen's level dropped even further, and the doctors and nurses were not telling me how was my condition. I know I was not doing great. They put me on full oxygen. Only thing was remaining was ventilator. I was battling. I was battling in prayer. I was battling physically. In every sense, it was not easy. Just to give you instance, I was having motions, and I cannot take my oxygen mask because I needed oxygen very badly. So even to go to a washroom was a task, was something which had to pray a lot and to go, because it's not easy to remove an oxygen mask and go little further and to the washroom, and then again come back running just for the oxygen. So it was not easy. It was not easy. Those initial couple of days, it was very, very tough, mentally, physically, in every sense. It was very challenging, very tough. So one thing I was thinking all those couple of days were, me as a believer, me as somebody who's known God, who's known Scripture. I myself is I'm finding so tough and so hard to get over this battle. And what about people who don't know God? What about people who don't believe in God? What about people who don't have a relationship with God? What about them? How much more harder and stressful it would be for them. So then I started praying, Lord, I don't know how, use me. I don't know how. Use me among these COVID people. I don't know how, but use me to minister to this COVID people. Might be now in the hospital, might be out of the once I get out of the hospital, but use me to speak hope, to speak life, to speak you into their life so that they can overcome. I know it's only with God it's possible to overcome situations like this. So I started praying. So then I slowly started recovering, getting better. Obviously, because people around the world were praying for me. People who don't know me, somehow God put a burden in them, and they were praying for me. They were fasting and praying for me, and all those prayers. My wife back at home, I'm sure she was in tears and praying for me, and all those prayers God heard, and I started getting better towards the end of fifth and sixth day. And around that time, there were two new people who were kept in that room. They were admitted. They were put along with me in the same room, and when they came, their condition was worse. They were tense. There was anxiety, and I was like, this is my opportunity. And I started comforting them and encouraging them, telling them, it will be fine. And they started getting better. They started listening to me, and they understood that it's not good to be anxious. And then they started asking me questions: who are you, what are you, where are you from? So which opened way for me to share gospel, to share my testimony, to share the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. Like next 3 days were beautiful days. Them asking me questions from the Bible, me answering their questions, and so it was as if Paul, who said, I am in chains, but gospel is not. So that is something which I've seen even when I was in that hospital. So gospel was not in chains. So around eighth, ninth day, God gave me a word that from to the church in Smyrna. God told 10 days God gave them, and over to Satan, and Satan was persecuting them, and but God told them, and as if they were faithful for 10 days, God will make them victorious. And then I knew that God would deliver me and bring me out of the hospital on the 10th day. And as God has promised, on the 10th day, ninth and 10th day, I started doing much better. My oxygen levels have improved to 91, 92, and I asked the doctor for discharge on the 10th day, and he agreed, and he discharged me on the 10th day. So it's only after I came back home, as I looked through my reports, I saw that my lungs were affected. 19 out of 25, that is 76% of my lungs were affected. Then I understood why I was struggling so much in the hospital. Uh, and it's only God's miracle, it's only God's hand, and obviously everybody's prayer that I was able to get out of the hospital, and even now I'm able to breathe. It's only God's hand, God's miracle. So I would really like to praise and thank God for this, His hand over my life, His deliverance over my life, for using me in the hospital. And today we're all doing good. My wife and my child, we're all doing good. We're all have recovered. God has healed us. So for all those people who are out there, let me tell you that God is at work. Never give up. Continue believing and trusting in God. God can do miracles even today. The same God who did a miracle in my life, God can do a miracle in your life too, or in your family too. So never give up. Never give up trusting in God. God is at work even today. God bless you. Thank you.